We love stories of self-made success. The genius, the grinder, the one who beat the odds. The narrative is clean and emotionally satisfying, the underdog triumphing through sheer determination and talent. But what if that's not the whole story? What if success isn't just about effort, but about invisible advantages that tilt the playing field from the start? That's what Malcolm Gladwell explores in Outliers. In this book, he challenges the myth of the self-made person and examines the hidden forces that shape extraordinary success. From birth dates to cultural legacies to once-in-a-lifetime opportunities, Gladwell pulls back the curtain on the systemic and environmental factors most people never see. This doesn't diminish hard work. Instead, it adds context, showing that while grit matters, it's not the only thing. Once you understand the full picture, you'll never see success the same way again. So let's break down Outliers and discover the truth about success you're not told. The 10,000-hour rule. Gladwell's most famous idea from Outliers is the 10,000-hour rule, the principle that it takes about 10,000 hours of deliberate practice to achieve mastery in any complex skill. Whether it's playing the violin, developing software, or becoming a chess grandmaster, the pattern is the same. Greatness is built over time, not overnight. But here's the deeper message. Not everyone gets 10,000 hours. It's not just about practice, it's about the opportunity to practice. Bill Gates didn't just work hard, he had rare access to computers in the 1970s. The Beatles didn't just jam. They played marathon sets in Hamburg nightclubs for years. Mastery isn't just a personal choice. It's often a product of privilege, support, and timing. And that's what makes the 10,000-hour rule more than just a self-help slogan. It's a window into how conditions, not just character, create success. Talent gets you started, but time and opportunity take you further. Timing is everything. Success isn't just about what you do, it's also about when you do it. Gladwell dives into the strange world of Canadian hockey to make his point. He discovered that a disproportionate number of elite players are born in the first 3 months of the year. Why? Because of the cutoff date for youth leagues. Kids born earlier in the year are a bit older, stronger, and more developed than their peers. They get picked for better teams, receive more coaching, and gain more experience, creating a snowball effect that amplifies small early advantages. This pattern isn't limited to sports. Timing matters in technology, business, and even education. Being born in the right decade, or even the right month, can shape the opportunities available to you. It doesn't mean success is purely luck, but it does mean luck plays a bigger role than we often admit. The systems we build can reinforce inequality in subtle, powerful ways. Culture and legacy matter. Where you come from, culturally and historically, shapes how you think, act, and succeed. Gladwell calls this cultural legacy, and it influences behavior in ways we don't even realize. Take Korean airline pilots. In one chapter, Gladwell explores why certain crashes occurred more frequently in Korean aviation. The answer? Cultural norms around hierarchy and deference. Co-pilots were often too polite or indirect to challenge their superiors, even in emergencies. Now contrast that with the success of Asian students in math. Their cultural heritage, especially from rice farming regions, prizes persistence, patience, and attention to detail. These values, passed down over generations, shape how students approach learning and problem solving. The takeaway? Success is rooted in more than just the individual. It's entwined with history, tradition, and the unspoken rules of our culture. Ignoring this context misses a crucial part of the story and limits how we understand achievement across the world. Success needs support. When we celebrate icons like Steve Jobs or Bill Gates, we often focus on their genius. But Outliers forces us to ask, what kind of support system enabled that genius to flourish? Bill Gates, for example, had access to a computer terminal at a young age, something incredibly rare in the 1970s. He didn't just work hard. He had early and consistent access to technology. Steve Jobs lived near engineers from Hewlett-Packard and attended a school with advanced computing opportunities. These stories aren't about taking away from individual brilliance. They're about understanding that access to tools, mentors, communities, and time is what makes brilliance possible. Without those hidden advantages, potential often remains untapped. So the real question becomes, how can we create systems that offer those advantages more widely? Because behind every so-called self-made success is a network of invisible supports, the stuff that never makes it into the highlight reel. Greatness is a group effort. The myth of the lone genius is powerful and mostly false. Gladwell shows that behind every outlier is a community. Whether it's parents who emphasize education, teachers who go the extra mile, or peers who challenge and support, success is social. Even in fields like science, innovation rarely happens in isolation. It happens through collaboration, feedback, and mentorship. The idea that one person rises purely through effort denies the roles of others in shaping that journey. In fact, the more we dig into stories of greatness, the more we find shared responsibility. From the Beatles to top software developers, every outlier benefits from invisible contributions, whether it's emotional support, financial help, or simply being in the right environment. Recognizing this truth doesn't take away from their accomplishments. It humanizes them and gives us all a clearer picture of what it really takes to achieve something extraordinary. The myth of meritocracy. A major implication of Outliers is the unsettling challenge it poses to meritocracy, the idea that the most talented and hardworking naturally rise to the top. Gladwell doesn't argue that skill and effort don't matter. They do. But he shows that the systems we use to measure merit are often flawed. Think of standardized tests, elite college admissions, or hiring processes. They're not always as fair or objective as we assume. They often favor those who already had early advantages, those born into families with more resources, better schools, or networks of support. In other words, we often confuse privilege with potential. This doesn't mean we should give up on merit altogether. It means we need a more honest and inclusive definition of it. One that acknowledges how access and background shape outcomes, and one that builds pathways for more people to succeed, not just those who started with a head start. Rethinking success in our own lives. So what do we do with this knowledge? If Outliers teaches us anything, it's to look beyond surface-level stories and question the invisible forces at work in our own lives. This means recognizing both the advantages we've had and the ones others haven't. It means acknowledging privilege without guilt and using it to create opportunities for others. Whether you're a parent, teacher, leader, or creator, you have the power to shape systems that nurture success. Maybe it's giving someone their 10,000 hours. Maybe it's changing how we measure talent. Or maybe it's just sharing this deeper understanding of success so we can all challenge the myth of the lone genius. Because real success, the kind that lasts and lifts others, isn't just personal, it's collective. And once you see that, everything changes. Outliers doesn't tear down the myth of hard work. It enriches it. It reminds us that talent matters, but context matters more. That persistence is powerful, but opportunity is essential. That greatness is not born in a vacuum. It's cultivated in systems, communities, and conditions we often take for granted. The real takeaway isn't to envy outliers, but to learn from their stories with eyes wide open. By understanding the hidden architecture of success, we can build it more intentionally for ourselves and for others. If this episode helped reframe how you think about achievement, hit that subscribe button. And don't miss our next deep dive, Quiet by Susan Cain, where we explore the hidden strengths of introverts in a world that won't stop shouting.